What's up, you guys? My name is Kyler. I'm a personal trainer. I'm also a functional patterns practitioner. And today I'm going to be showing you guys some myofascial release techniques using a very minimalist approach. So we're going to be using our bare hands. We're going to be using a foam roller. I just have a very bare minimum smooth one. I prefer that one. And I also have a lacrosse ball here. You can also use a baseball, tennis ball, whatever you prefer. You can use a PVC pipe if you like. And then I also have a bench here as well. That's to mimic a seat. So if you have a seat at home, you can use that too. That's just going to be helpful to help us dig into certain areas. And we're just going to cover from basically toe to head, head to toe. And I hope this is beneficial for you guys.
All right, so the first technique that we're going to be focusing on is our feet, okay? The reason why we want to release the bottoms of our feet is because those areas become very restricted and it can lead to compensations up into the rest of our body. So start off, put the ball on the floor. You can use a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, whatever you prefer. I like to stay seated so I can add more pressure by leaning over. And you're just going to find whatever spots might be really tender for you. So I tend to get very tender on the inside part of my feet, not more so towards the outside, but everybody's different. It's just it's a very intuitive process. You're gonna have to figure it out yourself. And when you find a tender spot, just go over it nice and slow, breathe into it, just relax. It's a very relaxing type of release work that we're doing throughout our entire body. I will remind you that while we're doing this, it's important to hydrate and drink water. So I'm gonna do that now, because I'll be doing a full body release today. When you're doing this type of work, you're pushing blood flow into areas that have been kind of restricted or dehydrated for a while. So it's important to drink a lot of water while you're doing it and even after, so that your body can continue to push blood flow into these new areas. And even though there's always blood flow going throughout the body, it's just good to keep all the fluids nice and happy and healthy as they're moving about throughout the body. You're gonna get a little bit of inflammation in certain areas, a little bit of bruising. Just keep drinking water, and that's just gonna help you with the recovery process after you're done with this entire technique. So make sure you get both feet. I'm gonna move on to my left foot here, and you can increase the pressure by just doing leaning over. Once that feels like you're able to do that, you can then stand up. I don't want to make sure I'm like losing myself in the frame here, but you just go back and forth, find what areas are painful, and then spend some time there. You can spend upwards of 2 to 10 minutes in a certain spot if you need to. Just do it at your own pace. So now we're going to go through some lower body releases with the foam roller, okay? We're going to start off with the shins, okay? So what you're going to do, be here, come around. And so you're gonna turn, so you're not gonna be on the shin bone itself. You're gonna kind of turn out so that foot is anchored in, and then you're gonna just roll up and down through this area here. And you're gonna find some spots that are not gonna be too happy that you're rubbing on them, but those are the spots that need to be rubbed, okay? So if you're someone who deals with some mobility issues, you can kind of bring yourself in a little bit closer here. So I usually find a lot of painful spots kind of down closer to the ankle. And so you're gonna spend a little bit of time here. So I'm finding some good spots right here, so I'm really digging into it. You can spend anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes on any of these techniques. But for the sake of the video and my storage, I'm probably not gonna do that long. So you can take a pause of the video if you haven't completely memorized the order of everything yet. And just focus on the area you need. I'm switching legs now. It might feel a little bit different from side to side. Make sure you go up and down, just to the side of the shin bone. So maybe a clear example here. This is actually my shin bone right here. I'm just getting the muscle to the side. It's your tibialis muscle and a couple other tissues in there. You roll your ankle a lot. This could be a really great, or you get shin splints. This is really great if you get shin splints if you're a runner. You might hate me in the moment, but once you come out of this, you'll be like, wow, thank you, Kyler. This is incredible. And I'll be like, you're welcome, stranger. Okay, so after we get these shins, we're gonna move on to the calves. Okay, so we're here. Very simple, you'll see people doing this at the gym all the time if you do go to the gym. You just want to do stuff like this with intention. So you want to just find the spots that are, like I sound like a broken record, painful. And you want to just sit in those spots. The calves, now, the calves pump a lot of blood into the lower extremities. So I think that when I get a good release on the calves, I'm quite sore the next day. But like I don't ever roll my ankles anymore. Like I used to be a high-level rugby player, at least in the United States. And when I was in college, I did a lot of Pilates. I was doing a lot of stretching, and I never really focused on release techniques like this. And I felt like even though I would do all these stretching, I felt like I always, the same things kept lingering, like same type of pain would linger. But when I started doing this stuff after, I started researching more about what I felt like could be good for my body, because I developed some pretty bad degenerative discs in my back. And I realized that maybe stretching wasn't the right call, but doing some release work was a better introductory for helping reset my body. And I started doing stuff like this. A lot of my pain from playing rugby went away. And I was able to recover better. My workouts felt better. It's just about like really being intentional and putting the right time into this stuff. So you can spend as much time as you need per muscle group. You're just gonna go up and down, find any spots. When I first started doing this stuff I was 25, I'm 27 now at the time of this video. So it's only 2 years ago. I started in probably February of 2024. And I would do stuff like this and I'd be in pain. I'd be like in Anytime Fitness, just wincing in pain. People would just be walking around like, come on, dude, you're just rolling out your calves. But if you really spend time actually thinking about it and doing it, it's actually kind of painful. Like I get the outside of my calves, and you could really flush out a lot of dehydrated areas in the body. Now we're gonna release the hamstrings. I like doing it from a seated position. I'll show you why. You're gonna need a ball, okay? And so we're actually gonna release the upper hamstrings that are connected to the gluteal fold, okay? So what that basically means is just below your ass and just above your hamstring, that's where we're going, right here. And that's a good spot for me. If you sit a lot, this is gonna be good for you, okay? Because when we sit, all the muscles around this area of the body, they get very shortened, turned off, switched off. Just sitting, you could sit, that's the way life is. A lot of jobs, they require us to sit all day. I'm lucky enough to not have to be able to deal with that. But I also deal with pain from playing rugby and just living a very active lifestyle. So this doesn't evade me in any way. So you're just gonna find some tender spots on the hamstring, rolling it up and down. Whew, this is a good one for me. And then what you can do is you can also start to lift this, turn the femur out, which is the leg bone, turn it out, turn it back in. Yeah. For me, I find a lot of pressure in the inner hamstring, closer to the adductor or groin muscles. That's where I tend to find, I had a groin pull for a very long time from being really bad at kicking. So there's always some inflammation in that area, at least right now. Maybe in a time from now, there won't be any inflammation. I'm really hoping that that will be the case, as long as I just keep putting in the work. But yeah, this is a good release for the hamstrings. If you deal with some hamstring tightness, this is gonna help with that. This is definitely gonna help with that. You don't need a huge range of motion when you're doing this. You're basically just flossing a little bit of the hamstring, and then you can leave the leg extended, bring it back in. Just roll that ball under you, okay? Be gentle with this one. I only say that because this one's a really tender one for me. Maybe it is for you, maybe it isn't. Just like I said before, this is a very intuitive process. It's very personal. So figure out what's working for you. I'm gonna get the other side before I run out of things to say. And just breathe through things. Do this. I'm doing this in a gym right now. The gym's closed. But if you could do this in a room where you can just kind of focus on what you got to work on, just breathe through it, just try to relax. That's even better. I'm personally hoping nobody walks into the door right now and sees me talking to myself, but it's okay. I'm talking to a bunch of strangers on the internet who are watching me from the future. So, good to meet you. Next release we're going to be working on is the glutes. I like to do this from a seated position because you could get the big glute muscle, the glute max, and then you could also get the glute med, which is that muscle on the side. Kind of just doesn't get worked on enough. So we just went on the gluteal fold and got the hamstrings a little bit. Now we're going to work on just kind of sitting this back. You lean back a little bit, and then you're really able to get in there. Oh yeah. Beautiful. This one's a very tender spot for a lot of people. You can turn the foot over. That now, when you get on the outside part of the glute, now you're working on that glute med. So there's multiple ways to do this. You could do this laying down on the ground. Yeah, this is great. I'm gonna feel so great when I'm done with all these releases and I put this video together and I chuck it up on the internet and I send it out to people and people can find it. It's gonna make me feel, I'm gonna feel physically great from doing all this stuff, but I'm gonna feel really good to be able to help people too with relieving some of their pain. So I don't think that myofascial release is the entire picture when it comes to releasing your painful dysfunctions. I think that it's a really great way to start. I think you need to be able to train your body in a way that allows you to improve your structure, and that will in turn stop a lot of your pain and improve your function and your performance, whether you're an athlete or just someone who's trying to feel better in your own body. But doing this stuff every single day is definitely going to be very beneficial for improving your progress over time, improving your cognitive function. There's techniques that are going to be great for releasing certain areas in your stomach. That's going to help you with digestion. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But just spend some time. If you deal with low back pain, this is a great release for that. It looks kind of silly. It looks like I'm straddling the seat here and I can't get comfortable. But I'm just really trying to find some certain spots here. But this is a process that's very unique to you, and you just gotta spend some time in each of these areas. Pause the video if you need it. Fast forward. If this is not doing much for you, you can move on to the next muscle. But I'm pretty sure most people need their glutes to be massaged. And the best part is this is free. You don't gotta pay $100 for a masseuse to dig in there and make awkward conversation, being like, what do you do for work? Next technique, we're back on the floor. We're gonna be releasing the quad muscles. The quadriceps is the front of the thighs. And then we're gonna go into the TFL and the IT bands. And that's gonna lead us to getting into the abdominals and such, but we will start with the quads, okay? So what you're gonna do, it's probably one of the most relaxing yet painful releases, depending on if you're a big sitter. So you're here, this up and back. You've seen this one at the gym, you've probably done it before, okay? It's just, this one's about being intentional, okay? Finding the spots along the quad that are very tender for you. It might be closer to the knee, or it might be up closer to the hip. And then you're gonna turn the femur up and around. When you find a spot, like right here, I found a spot kind of close to my knee on like the VMO, okay? All you're gonna do, think about flexing, flex the quad, you might even see my glute twitch a little bit. And then you could also turn this up and you're kind of doing like a little floss, kind of like what we were doing with the hamstrings before, where we're extending the leg, but this time we're bending the knee up. So when we bend the knee up, that kind of stretches or lengthens the quad muscle. So when you're able to do that, you're able to get a little bit more motion into these areas that have been a bit more restricted. And yeah, feels good. Okay. On top of that, because we're in this position, now we can get into the groin. So I didn't mention that before, but this is an adductor release. Just here. Okay. You can bend the knee in, like in a frog position, or you can let it extend. And then just get up kind of closer to the private parts area. Turn the foot out, that's how you're gonna get into the groin adductor. Yeah, I feel a lot of pressure on the inner thigh. So I gotta do a lot of release work there, a lot more at least. Okay. And now to stay on that leg, now we're gonna get the IT band. All right, so there's multiple areas that we can work on the same leg. You don't have to go back and forth or anything like that. So IT bands generally always been a really painful spot for a lot of my clients and people I work with. And when I watch people in the gym, they grimace when they come to these spots right here. Used to be the case for me, not so much anymore. But it also depends on what spot I'm focusing on. Next one here is the TFL. So the TFL, the tensor fascial audit, is right in here. Okay, it's a hip flexor muscle. So that one, very high and tight, just right below the hip crease, and you really don't need a lot here. So I'll floss it a little bit by lifting and lowering my foot. And if you get hip flexor tightness, this could be a really good release for you. I messed up my hip from being a really bad kicker in rugby. Just thousands of really sloppy reps. I should have played soccer when I was younger, but I just was really big into football and then flag football in the spring. And so I never got to learn how to use my feet aside from just running. But hey, you know, there's multiple reasons why this might be painful for some people. But yeah, just go around and do these releases. I'll do the right quad now. So I'm kind of ripping through this. I don't know how long I've been doing this. Probably about a minute and a half per side. But you know, these are big muscle groups. They require a lot of attention. So make sure you're giving them the attention they deserve. Just, you know, keep rolling and see how your workouts feel afterwards. So now I'm getting on the inside part of my thigh. Oh yeah, my right quad feels, now I'm kind of more, not so much on the quad, but kind of more on the adductor, which is the groin. Maybe a little bit of the VMO muscle, which is the inner quad muscle. Connects to the kneecap, or the inner part of the kneecap. It doesn't really matter. I don't want you to get too tripped up on like, oh, I need to spend time on the quad, and then I need to spend time on the groin, and then the IT band. Like, I want you to think about the body as one unit. Like, yes, you should spend time on certain muscles, but if it's guiding you to shift your tension more towards like the groin and then upper thigh, and then you want to get on the outer thigh, like, don't look at it as like segmental things. Look at it as like, okay, there's pain here, here, and here. Let me get in there. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now I'm getting on the IT band here. Oh yeah. And my right IT band is a bit more tense than my left. So different limbs are gonna have different areas of dehydration and different needs. And I'm gonna finish off with the TFL muscle. You're just gonna have to get in there. The TFL muscle is a bit closer to the upper hip, so you're gonna really have to get in there. And then you have to turn it out a little bit. And then you can floss around. Turn the femur around a little bit. Oh yeah, and I found it. Sometimes it'll take a moment to find things too. You might be rolling over an area and being like, I don't feel it. What is this guy talking about? Spend some time though trying to change your position up a little bit. If you change up your position just a little bit, it can make a pretty big difference in terms of feeling what you need to work on. I hope you guys are feeling great so far. If you're someone who deals with low back pain, you have some tightness, maybe you have a herniated disc or two, I can relate. So I'm gonna show you guys some release work in the abdominal wall and also the low back, okay? So we're gonna start off with the abdominal wall here. It's important, caveat here, is let's not get in the middle, okay? Where your belly button is, draw that up to where the split piece is between your rib cage. That area we should avoid, okay? We're gonna get around the sides. So if you can trace your fingers around your rib cage, just down this area, and kind of over where your abdominal wall would be. If you have abs, great. If not, then it's just right in here. This is your psoas or iliac psoas region. These are muscles that connect from the hips up into the lumbar spine. So the way we can go about releasing these is we take the ball. We don't have to be super specific here. We just take the ball. Don't put it on the belly button, put it off to the side. And then you lay down on it. Okay. The ball might be a little small, so you can use like a softball would be like the next level up, or like a release ball from like a sporting goods store, like a myofascial release ball. They have products like that. But if you're able to get in here pretty well, you can genuinely find some pretty good spots on the abdominal wall. And it feels good. So you get one side, feel it out. For me, I don't really feel too much. Actually, I got a couple good spots right here. I've done a lot of release work in this area, so I don't really get, feels good now, more or less. I don't really feel much pain anymore in these spots, unless it's a really dehydrated area that I need to focus on. But you're just gonna kind of floss back and forth, okay? So I'm working on my right side right now, and after you get the kind of abdominal region, you can actually move the ball over the crest of the ribs, so just below the ribs, okay, just underneath. And then you're gonna take the ball and just kind of trace the underside of the ribs, just down and around. You can trace it all the way to the point where the ribs kind of meet the hips. And this is great for releasing the rib cage a bit. If you're someone who deals with stomach issues like the indigestion or any other stomach issue, you get stomach cramps, this can be very beneficial for you. You can also lay down. So now, right now, I'm not, the ball isn't on my ribs, it's just below my ribs. And I'm able to kind of dig into the side here. So I think you can kind of see it, hopefully. So right now it's between my ribs and my hips. A good little fold here. This spot feels really good. This is like where I'd say people should just hang out. You don't need to necessarily floss back and forth. You can just hang out here, focus on breathing. When you breathe, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. When you breathe out through your mouth, let your belly button kind of sink into your body. And that's gonna allow for this release work to really start to pay its dividends. Yeah, and it's great. It feels great. Hopefully it feels great for you too. So for the sake of the video, so I don't get too lost in the sauce, I'm gonna switch to the other side, because I definitely could get caught up in this, and I don't want you guys to just get bored with what I'm doing. You might not be though. You might be genuinely enjoying some of the content, which I hope you are, and just really lost in your own sauce. So right now I'm on the other side. Let's not go to the crest of the ribs yet. Let's focus on the abdominal region. There's some really great tools that are better than a lacrosse ball to get in this region. At home, I have what's called a So-Right. I'm not like gonna endorse any company or anything like that, but a So-Right is basically like this like prong looking release tool. You buy it off of Amazon, and you could lay on it. It's like you're laying on like the prongs of a fork, and that'll get in there pretty good. That'll get in there better than probably a lacrosse or a softball will. But it's also, it gets really deep in there. So if you're still sensitive, you using a ball is probably a good starting point for you. Oh, and I've been doing this for years, and I can still find spots where I don't really even need the So-Right. Like this one. Wow, this is great. Okay. So I'm not going on the center part of my belly. I'm just going, right now I'm just to the left of the center of my body, of my belly. All right, now I'm gonna get around the crest of my ribs. So not on the ribs themselves, but just below them. Like it's almost like you're trying to just get below the ribs and you're just trying to trace the outline of the underside of the ribs. And yeah, the left side for me feels good. feels gnarly. So I have to remind myself not to get too in depth here, but hey, listen, you know, maybe you're getting in there with me and you don't care. You're just like, wow, shut up already. Let me do this. But, so now I'm getting on the side, just below the ribs, above the hips. Okay, hang out. Do whatever you gotta do. So like on this side, it was a lot more tender. This side, I'm not feeling it so much. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go move up now. I'm gonna go back to a spot where I felt like I really needed it. And for me, that's right here. So now I can just hang out, take a nap, watch some YouTube shorts on my phone if it wasn't filming me right now. Okay, so that's some good abdominal release work. I'm gonna show you how we can release a muscle called your quadratus lumborum muscle and your lower back, or your QL muscle. So you're gonna lay flat on your back for this next release. You're not going to put the ball on your spine. You're not going to do that, okay? Don't do that, ever. Don't ever do that. So you're gonna take it off to the side. So you have your low back right here, okay? Just take the ball, put it off to the side right here. Lay on back. And then all you're doing is just turning your body slightly to the side where the ball is on. And you should be able to find some decent spots here. I know I can. If you're new to this and you're just trying to figure out how to orient yourself, like on the ball or on the foam roller or with whatever tool you're using, that's why I say, you know, this is an intuitive process. It takes time. So take your time to get comfortable when you're doing this. I mean, you're not going to be very comfortable while you're doing this because you're going to be finding some really tight and painful areas. But just take your time to orient your body so that you can get in these positions and move yourself back and forth in the appropriate manner so that you can get into these muscle groups. There's no rush. If you need a friend, husband, partner, wife, that's the other one I was looking for. Wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, to dig in here with you, then do that. I'm gonna get the other side, okay? Doesn't mean you have to. You pause the video. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. I guess we'll see how it turns out. I'm hoping it's under an hour. Probably not though. It's okay though. Maybe I'll split it into two. I'd like to get both though. But maybe if I yapped less. Doesn't really matter though. You're gonna wanna spend a good amount of time on each of these techniques. Now what we're gonna be working on is the lats and the mid back, all right? So all you're gonna need is the foam roller, and you might use the ball, I'll get to that. But we'll start off with the lats, okay? Just be here, like this, lay the hand out. Lats, big muscle that connects the shoulders to the pelvis, the hips, okay? So it's probably one of the biggest muscles in the body, if it isn't the biggest. Sorry, internet, for not knowing that off the top of my head. I think it definitely is the biggest muscle in your body, but we're gonna roll it out a little bit. So we're here, put your hands behind your head, or you can just let the hands relax. Just wanna have a good reach in the side that's gonna keep the lat lengthened, okay? And if you deal with shoulder issues, this is a good way
to start addressing those. So the lat is a depressor of the scapula and internally rotates the shoulder. So most people have very internally rotated shoulders already. So that probably means that your lats are tight. So if you have clicking in the front of your shoulders, or it hurts when you do any type of bench pressing, push-ups, overhead pressing, you probably need to roll out your lats. If you also have what's called a kyphosis, which is when your upper back is rounded, you should roll out your lats. Okay, so just get up and down. Your lats can go all the way below the rib cage. Ooh, so you can actually get into that QL muscle a little bit. Just make sure you're not going over the spine. That's all. That's the only thing that I would find to be dangerous. Yeah, don't go over the spine. You don't want to go over the spinous processes. We're trying to help the spine, not hurt it. Okay, so let me get both sides here. So for me, my left lat has always just been tighter, more restricted. I played a lot of sports like rugby, so it's not a very good sport for your shoulder health or body health, brain health, but especially the shoulders. I feel like a lot of rugby players have bad shoulders just because we're always hitting, and same with football players, lacrosse players, hockey, any type of contact sport. You're always hitting, and then you're always doing heavy lifting on top of that, so the shoulders get very depressed, and internally rotated. I was trying to think of something funny to say about a depressed shoulder, like trying to say like it needs, needs therapy. This is basically therapy for the shoulder. We're trying to decompress the area, get some blood flow into the muscles around it that keep it nice and hydrated, get it working properly. Oh yeah, this feels great for me. Yeah, I'll put my hand behind my head. Thanks for staying with me so far. If you still are here, hopefully I'm providing you some good content, helping you guys feel good. Appreciate your time. We're not done yet. We're gonna do some things that you've probably never done before. Coming up real soon. After we are done addressing the lats and the mid back, we're gonna start to work from the head down. I'm really excited to get into that, because I've never done a video demonstration quite like that before. And I think it's gonna be something that is gonna be very beneficial in the long run for many people. So the next thing we're gonna go over is opening up our mid back. So before we do any type of myofascial release work for it, we also have to work on the extension of our thoracic spine, okay? Many people are really hunched over from sitting, okay? We gotta work on opening it up, getting the thoracic spine and the rib cage to work in tandem with one another, okay? So, we're gonna put the foam roller behind us, lay on back, put your shoulders here or put your hands behind your head, and you're just gonna try and roll between your shoulder blades. So I know I said before that we're not gonna roll over the spine, and the foam roller is kind of touching the spinous processes, those bumpy parts of the spine. But the key here is to try and find the pressures on the sides of it. So you're trying to get between the spine and the shoulder blades, not necessarily putting direct pressure on the spine itself. So there is a little bit of a difference in, like a caveat in what I was talking about. So you're here, and so you can go up and down, try to like find if there's any spots that might be tender for you. Try and like abduct or to try to push your shoulder blades wide, not try to retract them too much. As you push your shoulder blades out, you'll be able to get underneath them a little bit. So there's some release work that can be done there, but I think that's better done with the ball, which I'll show you guys in a moment. Right now, we're just gonna focus on just trying to release and get some better thoracic spine engagement here, okay? So just trying to open up a little, close it back down. If you have a smaller foam roller, one that's like
much thinner, kind of more like a pipe, that might actually be better. Because right now, as you're doing this, you also want to kind of keep a brace in the core, because your ribs are going to flare a little bit. You don't want your ribs to flare too much, because if your ribs flare too much, that's going to put a lot of pressure on your low back. But right now, we're just trying to focus on releasing and extending the upper back. So one thing I want you to think about is I want you to think about driving your head back. Keep a brace in the core. Oh, and you're gonna feel some tight spots. If you have neck pain, support your head. Bring it back in. Get about 10 to 20 of those. As you come back, I want you to think about breathing in through your nose. And when you come back down, exhale. Get about 5 of those and then reverse it. I want you to exhale over. And then inhale, pull yourself back in. Now that we've opened up the posterior chain a little bit and got some better thoracic extension, we're gonna roll out the rhomboids and the lower and mid trap. So that's the muscles between the shoulder blade and the spine. So you're gonna need a ball for this. All right, put the ball behind you. Don't place it directly over the spine. Don't let it escape you. Okay, so what you're gonna do, what I found to be the most beneficial to get the most out of this technique, people are very tight through the mid back. So you're gonna hold, I put it on my right side. I'm gonna protract my right arm forward. What happens when I protract my right arm forward is the shoulder blade, the scapula, rotates forward, like around the rib cage. So that creates more space in the area where my scap would usually sit, and between my spine. So then I can really get into the areas that don't really get much light throughout the day, or much space throughout the day. So you're protracting, you're reaching the shoulder forward. Most people are very much in like a retracted state. Reach it forward. And you're gonna find some good spots here. Yeah, I used to have a cervical disc herniation in my lower cervical spine. I still do, but I would have really like a lot of tingling and strange sensations happen right around in this area of my upper back. And doing techniques like this, it was good to help calm down the tissues while I was building strength in the area. So, like I said, a lot of this stuff is very good to help your nervous system calm down, but in order to get long-lasting results, you need to address your structure at a deeper level. And so doing a lot of like different corrective work and trying to connect the body to different areas, upper, lower, and trying to get the spine to be freer is going to be beneficial in terms of exercise. But if you want to get the most out of it, doing these myofascial techniques could just be, really great for you overall. You get more out of your workouts. So now I'm doing my left side. I'm reaching my left arm forward. Trying to get too high up. We're gonna get the upper trap in a few minutes. This is more for the rhomboid and mid and low trap. Rhomboid is the highest muscle I would go. And then there's the mid and low trap. Mid trap is responsible, and the rhomboid are responsible for retracting the scapula. So when you protract the scapula, it kind of puts them in a lengthened position, so you're actually able to get there, get in there a little bit more, find those knots. And then the lower trap helps depress the scapula. So when you protract it, just kind of putting everything lengthened, and then you're able to get in there. You can also put your arm, let it come back, bring it up. There you go. All right, guys, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the pec. Many people are very shortened in the pecs. So sitting shortens the front side of the body, and these areas get very tight and dehydrated. We'll get the pec, we'll get the anterior delt, and we're also gonna get the posterior delt, maybe a little bit of the mid delt on the way as well, but we're gonna start off with the chest. So we're gonna start off closer to the inner part of the thorax or the rib cage. And so we'll start off with a ball, okay? You're here, and you're just laying it straight down as such. Like you're taking the ball. So you have the mid part of your chest. The name escapes me, but like between your two pecs, okay? You don't want to roll out that area. You want to put the ball just on the pec tissue itself, okay? So you could do this on the ground. You could actually go up against a wall and do this as well. Or you could do what I'm doing right now. This feels pretty good right here, all right? So you're just rolling around. But for the sake of creating the most pressure, I find that doing this on the floor is the best, and with your hands out wide so your pecs are naturally in a stretched and lengthened position. And then you're just gonna go back and forth in certain spots and just try to find what areas need to be rolled over. So for me, my upper pecs, the one where my shoulders, the front of my delts are connected to my pecs, that area is the tightest. I'd imagine it is for most people who might have shoulder pain, things like that, who sit a lot. The upper pec is usually the area that has the most tension. Whew. So I'm feeling that out right now. What you could do is you could find a spot and then move your arm around in that area. So now my shoulder's internally rotated. Now I want to, as I externally rotate my shoulder, okay, turn my hand up. I'm not really big into cars or anything like that. Like doing a lot of like joint movements like this, like where you're just mobilizing the joint. But in a case like this, where you're just trying to mobilize the fascia and the tissue, this could be very beneficial for you because now you're just really trying to pull apart these adhesions. So most of the time, when I'm not doing stuff like this, I could do this very easily. But when I'm doing this, it's it could be very restrictive in certain areas. You'll see that it might be really restricted for you too. And if it is, that just means you got to spend a little bit of extra time on certain spots. So for me right here, it's a pretty good spot for me to focus on a little bit. You just gotta find the spots that are tender for you and work your way out of it. I'll go on my right side, see how much different it is. So I'll go here, just give you guys a better view, hopefully. Okay. Remember, you're not putting it across the middle of your chest, you're putting it on the breast tissue itself. So yeah, for me, my upper pec is the more tender spot. If you're a weightlifter, so who likes to exercise pretty regularly, it might be the same case for you. But everyone's different. You can even turn out to the side a little. See, I'm not a very big active stretch type person. Well, actually, I do like active stretching. I just don't like stretching with no resistance. But if you can turn over, start to create some stretch while you are doing some release work, that's going to be very beneficial in helping that tissue overcome that adhesion, get some hydration into that spot. So just depends on what your movement capability is. If you're someone who doesn't like to be on the ground, you can do this up against a wall too. Just put the ball like on the wall and just lean into it. So that works too. You could also move your arm up and down as well when you're doing that. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get the anterior delt, just connected directly, just above the hip, just superiorly of the hip. Sorry, the chest. So you're here. This area is very tender for a lot of people, myself included. People, weightlifters, desk jockeys. The front side of the ribs tends to be very tight for the majority of the population. So if we're able to open up this area, the posture will improve. A lot of joint pain might improve. You might even be able to, if you open up the front part of your chest and the front part of your rib cage, if you deal with low back pain, that might actually be beneficial for you too. Most people who focus on specific areas don't look at the whole picture. They've never been taught. And if you're able to open up the front side of the chest, that can take a lot of pressure off the low back, because the muscles of the backside won't be overly lengthened and pulling on the low back. It allows more of like a neutral spine. You get better extension, and it kind of allows the tone of the lower back to calm down and not be so stretched out all the time. If you can conceptually picture that. It's like if you're hunched over, the muscles on your low back are gonna be stretched upwards, right? So if you're able to get rid of that upper back hunch, the muscles on the low back won't be so stretched. They'll be in a more neutral position. If you have neck pain, same thing, right? So the lower cervical spine will be kind of overly stretched. In some regard, it's trying to be pulled forward. You might even start to get flattening of the neck, like you get pencil neck, military neck. You open up the front side of the ribs, and then that curvature can improve, or that pain can go away or improve. I'm getting the front delts here. A little tender on the left side. Gotta work on it more. Okay, last bit here, we'll get the posterior delt. You have rotator cuff stuff going on. We're getting right in there. So we're getting in that teres minor, which is an external rotator of the shoulder. So when you do this, the teres minor is like a small muscle that pulls the shoulder back. It works with the infraspinatus, which is the muscle on the back side of the scapula. That's also an external rotator. We're gonna do another rotator cuff release. We're gonna do a subscapularis release, which is on the inside part of the scapula. I cannot speak. We're gonna do that in a moment. That'll be the last thing we do, I think. Yeah, that's my list. Let's get the right side. Back side of the shoulder blade, or shoulder, not the shoulder blade, the actual shoulder. Hopefully I haven't run out of battery on my phone. Okay guys, so the next thing we're gonna be working on, we're gonna work on the head down now. So if you're someone who deals with headaches, if you're someone who deals with TMJ or cervical spine issues, that these techniques are gonna be very beneficial for you. They may look a little strange, but I think that these are gonna be really great to help release a lot of tension in your face, jaw, and cervical spine, and even your upper back a little bit too. So
The first one we're going to work on is your masseter. So that is your cheekbone muscle, basically. And so you're going to take your thumbs, clean pair of hands, and you're going to dig them into here. So not like in your cheeks, not like here. You're going to bring them up just right here. And you're just going to back and forth like this. You scrape up and down. So it looks like this, okay? And great for reducing tension around the jaw. If you're someone who grinds their teeth at night, this is gonna be beneficial to helping your jaw relax. You could do this before you go to sleep. And get about 20 of these in here, okay? And then after that, put your hands right here, keep your thumbs there. This is where the release part comes in, is your opening up. Open wide like you're at the dentist. You can move up and down. I know it looks a little weird, maybe do it by yourself. Unless you're brave and do it in public. Get about 20 of those. You'll feel this area open up pretty well. Next, we're gonna work on your SCM muscle. This is this muscle here, okay? So when you look to the side, this chunk of flesh right here is responsible for rotating your head. So that gets very tight. People get overly lengthened, sitting like this all day, okay? You don't wanna look like that. So then you're gonna take this, grab that piece of chunk of meat, walk your head back and forth. You're gonna find some tender spots. For me, I get a little bit more tender the closer I get to my head. You can do this for as long as you need to. Okay, get the other side. You don't wanna go back and forth like that, okay? You're not trying to break out of anything, you're just trying to find some areas to be helpful in getting your muscles around your neck, jaw, and face to relax. All right, next one here, the scalene muscles. So you have your upper traps here, okay, but you also have your scalene muscles. So that's, your scalene muscles are a lot of your nerves from your neck. They run through these muscles here. So if you ever get a hand paresthesia, or you ever get like a thoracic outlet syndrome, these muscles are most likely being overly worked. Because what winds up happening is if you get carpal tunnel, thoracic outlet, any type of paresthesias, most of the time your shoulders get very depressed. These muscles, the mid and the posterior scalenes, could then get, like the nerves get irritated as they're running through. So if you get those, just do this. All right, just release through here. You're not trying to like dig into the collarbone, you're trying to just get to the backside right here. And then that whole area start to open up for you. Your head back and forth. You can go up the levator scap a little bit. So that's up the side of the neck. Really, you can find any spot that's tender. If you work on it, it's gonna be beneficial for you. I'm gonna get the other side. I mean, you're also basically doing the upper traps at the same times, because your upper traps going through the back side of your neck and they just run down here. So you're getting your scalenes, your upper traps, your levator scap, which is a muscle that helps your scapulas elevate. So levator, scapula muscle, elevate. So that's what helps assist the traps. Connects to your neck. So get both sides. You can give yourself a hug. Do it. Okay. Okay. Now, after you've released these areas, we're going to work on what's called our occipital region. So if you have tension headaches that come in through the back side of the head, or it kind of runs to the side or over the top, okay? These muscles back through here can be very tight. So you take your thumbs, so now your occipitals are the muscles that are very highest up onto into your cranium, into your skull. But if that area isn't super tender for you, just move down the cervical spine. Just go along the ridges on the side. You're basically giving yourself a nice little neck massage.